back to From the Ground Up. I'm your host, Taylor.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today we have with us USF alum, Miss Emmie, and you actually own the playground, the playground softball cages. And how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Good. Well, Emmie, before we get the questions rolling, we would like to shout out our sponsor for today's episode, MarketBeat. MarketBeat is an amazing resource for creating the most accurate and most comprehensive data sets while empowering more than 2.5 million investors to make better trading decisions by providing real-time financial data with the best-in-class stock research tools. Whether you're looking for consistent dividend income or trying to find the next GameStop, MarketBeat has the objective information needed to analyze stock. You can learn more about MarketBeat at marketbeat.com.
Yeah, those ads are always a bit of a mouthful. Those are very fun to read. To get the thoughts flowing a little bit, we got a little bit of an icebreaker. If you weren't here at the podcast right now, what would you be doing right now?
Oh gosh, that really depends on the day. So sometimes I help out with the USF softball team.
Okay.
And sometimes practice there during the day, so I might be there. If not there, then probably sitting at home on my couch, probably going through emails, watching some Netflix, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, as the podcast is called From the Ground Up, can you tell us a little bit of the story of how you built the playground from the ground up?
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of a long story, but when I was growing up, I played softball, and I was super passionate about that. I liked it a lot, and I also was super passionate about business in general. In elementary school, I remember getting in trouble for starting a business and getting called to the principal's office. I think we sold, trading cards or something, and I had, a bunch of little employees who worked for me, and I remember being mad that none of the employees got in trouble, too, for having the business. But just being said about that is that I just really like business, and I always have. So I kind of wanted to combine two of my passions together, which was obviously softball / coaching, and then business in general. So going through the University of Sioux Falls Entrepreneurial Studies program, I remember we always had so many projects, and basically they would all start the same, come up with a business idea. And so I came up with a playground, and I always used that for every single project. And just kind of started putting things together, and then it all eventually kind of came together. So that's kind of how I came up with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you kind of just answered my next question. Let's see. How did you maintain that, interest in business? Because, softball you love because it's something you've played your whole life, but, turning into a business, that could ruin it for you. How has that affected you?
That's a good question, too. There's definitely a fine line. I think I probably have more of a passion for softball, and, that I'm kind of driven to do that my whole life. Like most people, college ends or even high school ends, and the sport's gone kind of forever. You're not included in it as much. I wanted to find a way to keep it in my life and to almost be to others what others have been to me. What I mean by that is I've had really good coaches growing up. I've had awesome resources. My parents are awesome coaches and, mentors, just normal coaches. So I wanted to be that and kind of bring that to other people. So I thought the best way to do that would be in starting a business so I could do it every single day.
Mm-hmm. And where do you hope to take the playground moving forward?
There's lots of different options. Part of me really wants to kind of just invest in the whole women's sports movement pretty much and maybe make the playground indoor basketball facility for women or soccer or track and field, whatever. That's one of my options. Or I've also considered not necessarily franchising, but also just adding different locations, probably more north. I'm from Omaha, and there's a ton of options for facilities down there, but I feel like the more north you get, the bigger need, and it's just kind of not as prevalent there yet.
Sure, yeah.
What are the playground's missions, visions, and values?
So I don't know that we necessarily have a written statement, but a bunch of it is just kind of almost like women in leadership and just building confidence for women, young women, obviously. It's almost like we're trying to teach leadership and, those kind of skills and, like I said, the confidence, and we're just using softball as an outlet to do so. It's just, to me, it's the most fun way to do that and to connect with kids.
Yeah. How did you come up with that sort of idea? would you say? Is it just from how you were raised in the softball era, or?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it similar, or something similar to this, but a lot of it is just to be to others what others have been to me, and that's kind of something I try to live by. I've just been so lucky to have awesome coaches and mentors that I really try to be that to other kids, and I know how much it helped me, and I even know what I would have maybe needed more of growing up, and I just really want other kids to have that and, you know, have a place to look forward to going every single day.
For sure. That's awesome. How did you establish these values in your work, and how do you think you would be able to maintain these values?
I just think it's important to stay true to it. Like, some nights it's hard. Some days I wake up and I'm exhausted and I don't really want to go to work. But then I remember why we do it. And I remember, you know, how many kids have already come through and all the parent feedback I get. And just hearing that from them. And that kind of helps, you know, drive me forward and makes it all kind of worth it when it gets hard and when I get tired.
Yeah, awesome. I can attest to the parent thing as a baseball player. It's, especially with their younger kids, they are all over it, and it's hard for parents to let go.
Yeah, it's insane.
So I believe you're now finishing this is your third facility now, the new one that's coming, or is this the second one?
So the one that's building now, that will be the permanent facility.
Yeah.
The one we have now is the first one, and that one's going to go away.
Got it. Okay. Yep. So what was the process like for attaining that first facility?
So the first facility was kind of a huge step, just because before that we were, you know, driving around to local fields. I'd have an appointment, whatever, a lesson, and I'd be like, I'm going to run to this field and check it out real quick. Like, I'll let you know if you can come here. And the parents were troopers. Like, it was so nice of them to stick with me through that and not just bail and go to someone who has an established facility. So the first time getting that building was huge. The process of getting it, I was just on, you know, websites looking for like real estate, or not real estate, but rentable industrial buildings in Sioux Falls, and I just like inquired about one. I just clicked a button, and then I got linked up with this guy, Tom from Vantis, that's his company, and he was super awesome. He was just like, okay, like, tell me what you want and we'll make it happen. So we drove around probably to 20 different buildings within that month and finally found the one, which it wasn't the most perfect, newest, awesome building, but it was perfect in the fact that it does what we need to do. It's in a great location, and it was pretty affordable for what we needed it for.
How did you maintain the cleanliness and equipment of that first facility?
Well, that was kind of hard, especially during kind of the end of the COVID stuff. I mean, we're still in it, but, you know, the downward way of it. We wipe stuff down all the time, Clorox wipes. Between every lesson, I do hand sanitizer or wash my hands. I make sure if we do group stuff, the kids are always putting hand sanitizer on. We're really just doing that a lot. I sweep at the end of the night, just, you know, the basic stuff.
I know you said you've been working on this business idea for a long time, and I'm sure you have a pretty big plan. What, if any, was there any part of it that like you weren't expecting that did happen, that you had to, you know, roll with?
Yeah, probably a lot of things. I'm trying to think of some specifics. There's just been so many more things than I thought I would have to do, if that makes sense. Like in the entrepreneurial studies classes, I was like, oh yeah, here's my business plan. This is the order it's going to go. It's going to be super linear, but it's really kind of crazy. I mean, there's ups, there's downs, there's pauses. Like sometimes I'll send an email out and I need an answer right away, and it's like, okay, now I have to wait. Now I have to go do something else. It's just, I don't know, the journey is super crazy, and it's never exactly what you expect. I can't think of any specifics right now, but there's always something every day.
Having gone through the entrepreneurial program, what would you say were the top 3 things that you learned and you eventually incorporated into building your business?
Oh gosh, 3 things. The first one that comes to mind is just the networking stuff, which I mean, the professors preach that all the time, and you don't understand how important it is until you're kind of in the world, like submersed in it. But something I learned is to always reach out to people after you talk to them. If you have a guest speaker in class, like send them a note after class. Just make them remember your name. You never know when they're going to need you or if you're going to need them or anything like that. It's good to make those connections. Another thing would probably be, oh gosh, 3 things. That was my biggest one. I guess planning is something that's super important. Sometimes in the program there would be like worksheets or like, you know, like format or something that we would have to fill out, and it just seemed weird and not super important at the time. But the more you get into it, like, you need to have all these things written out and figured out ahead of time. If you don't use it right then, you're probably going to refer back to it a couple months down the line or down the road. It's important to just kind of have a clear plan where you're going with that.
For sure.
But one more thing. Gosh. I don't know. I just want to double emphasize the networking thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that for 2 of them. The
Okay.
networking is huge. I mean, again, just business world, if you need anything. Other things, like I needed a reception desk made, and I didn't know what to do about that because I've been looking all over and they're super expensive, and I wanted it kind of to fit how I wanted to. But I happen to have a contact who I just remember meeting, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to reach out to them. So it's just like things like that you'll
Yep.
need down the line.
Yep, for sure. That's great. Is there anything that you learned that you were like, I don't really think I used that? I mean, this might be hard for you to remember, but
Gosh, I mean, I'm sure there's some things. Nothing I can think off the top of my
Yeah.
head, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. Is there anything that you were exposed to that you wish was taught into the program?
Yes, a couple things. And then I've kind of talked to Professor Watley about this a little bit, but it's hard to think of specific examples, but some of it I think to myself, like, I wish we would have learned that. But then on the other hand, I'm glad that I didn't, just so I kind of had to figure it out as I went.
Yeah.
It was kind of like getting thrown in a pool, not knowing how to swim. At least I know how to tread water a little bit, so I
Yeah.
can stay afloat and then learn swimming as I go. I guess one thing would be, and I was never really good at accounting, so maybe we talked about it in there and I just don't remember, but just like the taxes and stuff. I just didn't understand all the taxes and the different, things that you had to pay taxes on, and even like credit card fees. We're trying to incorporate taking credit card payment right now, and there's so many different fees and options, and I don't know, again, that's probably something I just had to learn, but it would have been nice to have a heads up
Yeah.
on it, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds very complicated. Could you give us your perspective, or even like a personal experience of like, it's like something that happened that was failure, like something that you have learned from?
Yes. I don't know if this exactly answers your question, but right at the beginning, I just wanted to be like 100 miles an hour. I just wanted to go, go, go. And I just wanted big right away. But then I just kind of had to remember and kind of slow myself down that it's a process. It's not just like day one, I'm not going to have this awesome, huge facility with 200 members. It's going to have to build up to that. And some of the things I did, I probably was going too fast. And if I would have just slowed down a little bit, taken my time, it would have made the process a little more smooth.
Yeah.
And I guess a bunch of people warned me about that, but that might have been one of those things I had to experience for myself, just to, again, jump in the deep end, not knowing how to swim.
Yeah, for sure.
How did that failure change how you operate your business now?
It kind of made me make more small goals. It was hard for me because I had to make the small goals because I'm a big picture person, so I want the big right away, like I just talked about. But it really helped me, have more of a strategic plan, go through the small goals. What do I need to do to get to the next step? And is the next step this great big step, or is this next big step like more of a medium step?
Sure.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, but that's kind of made the difference and helped me with my planning for my, strategy.
Yep. Well, you're doing great so far. There's a lot of great advice that I've heard already. But we're about halfway through the episode, and we'd like to shout out our sponsor again for today's episode. The best research tools in the world are useless unless they are backed by comprehensive, accurate, and up-to-the-minute financial data. MarketBeat will provide all that and more. No matter what you're looking for or what you're looking at, join the millions of people and take a look for yourself at everything MarketBeat can do at themarketbeat.com.
All right, just rolling back into it. Could you explain to us what your marketing has been like a little bit?
Yes, so marketing's kind of one of my favorite things. I think it's fun. It's fun to kind of showcase what you do and what you're going to be doing. A lot of our marketing has happened through social media, and then the other half of that is kind of giving out free stuff. I'll talk about social media first, though.
Sure.
Social media was kind of something that I was able to start super early, just because, again, we did all these projects in the entrepreneurial studies program. I was in a social media class at USF as well, and that kind of helped me jumpstart it and, get the right idea for that. I'm not perfect at social media by any means, like I know that, but it's fun to, again, just show off the kids. That's kind of what it's all about. So I'm huge on just like seeing the kids having fun, snapping a picture and posting it for people to see. People see them having fun, they want to come have fun. They see them learning new drills, getting better, they want to come do that. So that's been huge. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're looking at TikTok. I'm not sold on it yet. We'll see. All the kids want me to get a TikTok. But yeah, tend to see most of the parents on Facebook, obviously, and Instagram. Some of the older kids, like high school age, they're all on Twitter. We just kind of had to learn, what to post where and where we're going to attract the most people by showing off what. And then the other thing we do a ton of is just the free stuff, which everybody loves free stuff. I don't care who you are. If it's a bracelet, a sticker, anybody wants it. We give that to anybody who's willing to take it pretty much. We have wristbands with the playground, indoor softball facility, stickers with kind of some little like slogans that we say or funny things about the facility, and then just the logos. If I have a group of kids in, sometimes I'll do contests and they can win a t-shirt. They love that. That's so fun. But
cool.
Yeah, those have been kind of the main ways we've marketed.
Yeah.
What marketing resources have you not ventured into yet?
TikTok is one of them. I want to look into that. I don't know. I watch TikTok sometimes, but again, I'm not completely sold on, making them and all that stuff. I just know I wouldn't be good at it right away. Other marketing we might get into, maybe like a radio ad or something. Yeah. Just anything to kind of get that softball name out there. Yep. We could also put some signs around some local, tournaments or what are they called, complexes. Yeah. Just, again, to get people to see it.
Yeah. Was there anything that you found that wasn't working?
I ran a few Facebook ads, like the paid ones. Yeah. I don't know that I would do any more of those. That was really early, though. I was just kind of playing with it like, I wonder if I'm going to get 10,000 followers from this $25 Facebook ad. I did not get that much, but I mean, a couple of views here and there. I don't know that we'd really do much more with that.
Sure.
Yeah. As a recent graduate, how have you handled finances, or how is financing a facility like this going for you?
That is another tough thing. There's a ton of startup costs with this. The biggest thing that's helped us is having the small startup facility, right? We have our one, I mentioned it's cheaper. We didn't have to pay for a bunch of equipment in there because I had a bunch of it, or my parents did, in, my basement at home. So that's been nice to be able to save money there and save up for the big one. Again, the startup costs are just the hard part. Once we get going, we'll have members, and the way we have it figured is that the memberships should cover the rent of the facility, which rent's going to be huge because it is a new building. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just saving up in college, knowing what the end goal was or the big goal was, and just being super disciplined in that way.
Yeah, for sure. How have you received funding, and when did you receive it, and how do you keep track of this funding?
So I have a loan for some of the new stuff. We received that maybe a month or so ago. That was kind of a process to get, but once we got that, I felt a lot better about the whole thing. Just having a group of people that kind of believed in the mission was the main thing. They believed in not only the mission, but, the people behind the mission, and me, which was huge. They believed in me, and my instructors that work for me, they knew we were kind of all in, and that was super exciting. Paying that back will be fun, super fun. But like I said, I think we have the numbers figured in a way where it'll be good in the end.
Yeah, for sure. What is your goal for the playground's finances, and when do you perceive that goal to be reached?
That's a great question. I don't know. Obviously, we need to meet rent. That will be easy again with the numbers we have, and then the loan payment. The way I have it figured, again, depends a lot on the members, which we need to get those bought in. As soon as people are, willing to sign up for a year membership and they understand the mission of us and, what we could provide for their kids, I think finances won't be an issue. I want to, I think 100 members is our goal. And once we get there, I think the finances will be kind of where I want them to be.
Good. That's awesome.
Well, I know we already touched on this a little bit, but how do you handle like taxes and I guess especially legal things like that? Any like licensing or things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Taxes are tough. Legal stuff. My mom was actually a paralegal for a lot of years, so she knows a ton about that and like how to read the legal jargon and contracts. So whenever I have a contract or something I need to sign, I shoot it to her first, and she looks it over. We'll talk on the phone. There was one contract that she read the whole thing to me and like explained it to me, and that was like a 2-hour phone call. I've just been super fortunate to have her to kind of decrypt it for me, decode it, so that she's really helpful for that.
You're glad that you had someone to delegate that to.
Oh my God, yes. I couldn't imagine having to just read that and figure it out on my own. I'd probably sit there with like a thesaurus next to me or a dictionary to learn all the words. So it's been nice.
Any of that.
They do not. No, that should be a whole class all in itself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got. Just to wrap it up a little bit, do you have any like parting advice to anyone or comments about entrepreneurship or thoughts that you want to share with any of the listeners?
Yeah, I guess. Let me think. I think a main thing to remember is that entrepreneurship is more like a journey, not like a destination. And that sounds super cheesy, like something you'd read on the back of a book or something. But it's so true. It's just there's so much that goes into it, and though some parts seem really, really hard, some parts seem really, really lonely, it's all kind of towards your main goal. And if you didn't really believe in that goal, if you didn't want that goal to, happen, then you wouldn't have embarked on the journey to begin with. Just always remember why you started. Make sure you have people and things that keep you going in the right direction, and just never stray away from your values and what you kind of believe in. Just remember why you started, and don't let anything or anyone change that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been really amazing talking to you. We do have a little gift for you. I think we have a little gift card and a little mug and a pen for you, just to remember your little trip here. And it's a Chipotle gift card, actually.
Nice.
I'm sure
I love that.
that'll be used.
So we're going to give one last shout out to Chipotle really quick. So Chipotle was born the radical belief that there is a connection between how food is raised and prepared and how it tastes. Being one of the first brands on a national level to commit to local produce, responsibility raised meats, and organic ingredients, you can count on Chipotle to make healthy food taste amazing. To find a location near you and check out everything they have to offer on their menu, check out their website, chipotle.com.